Okay, folks, how are you? It's a massive welcome to this week's show here. There's a bit of a blackout. The electric has went off, so we're just finding it hard to fight through whatever the situation has been. It's quite a shocking situation by the electric board. 5 minutes before I got ready to go live on BSNTV, and they turned the electric out. What the hell's going on around here? Okay, so what have we for you tonight? We've got the absolutely fantastic scoreboards here. We'll give you the scoreboards here in a moment. We had a lovely wee interview out at Twin Village Football Club, the newest football club in the Connor area and the Kells area, as there was only usually ever one football club there for years, absolutely for decades. We also have the highlights. However, the after-match interview didn't go through just as clear, so we had to cut it out this week. But the matches between Ballykeel and Antrim Eagles, which took place yesterday morning, a very, very good game and quite an interesting game, with the outcome having the effect on the second division. We also have the division tables there. Well, there's plenty to talk about from the top four teams of each division, and it's becoming a wee bit more clear here at this moment in time as to who, what, the where and the when after 6 weeks, which has been absolutely fantastic. And then we end up with an absolutely fantastic interview with a man who started at the very bottom and made it to the very top in football in Northern Ireland. The big man's from Ballymena, and his name's Wesley Lamont, and I fully encourage you to listen to a good hour of this interview. Absolutely top-class conduct by the big man. Really, really interesting. Okay, yes, it's the Firmus Energy Ballymena Saturday morning league teams who would have been played in the Fonacab Junior Cup first round yesterday. And the result sequence is like this. McCosquin 0, Clough Rangers 3. Macara Strollers 0, Southside Rangers 3. Aquinas Sturge 5, Collybackie Blues 1. Ballysillan Swifts 1, Raceview 6. Clough Mills 10, Moira Albion 2. Dromora Village 4, Romania NI 3, and FC Antrim 5, Coke United Reserves 0. F. Soimelina 2, Ards Rangers 9, Limavady Under 21 6, Waveney Swifts 2, Maguire's Bridge 3, Bridge United 1, Newry Celtic 0, Connor FC 1, Newton Breeda 5, North Ballymena Rangers 1, Valley Rangers Reserves 4, Randallstown 1. And the Firmus Energy BSML Division 1, Abbeyview 0, Harryville Homers 1, All Saints Old Boys 0, Carnini Amateur and Youth 3. And in Division 2, Seven Towers 7, Hollywell 0, Ballykeel 1, Antrim Eagles 3. And in Division 3, Ahocha Rovers 2, Riverdale 3, Carnock 2, New Park Olympic 2, and in the Joe Thompson Memorial Cup Group B, Waveney FC 1, Woodside 5, 6 Mile Athletic 2, Steadfast 1. And in the Ballymena Provincial Intermediate League in their second game, Bally have drawn 1-1 with Ballynure. And in the Clearwater Irish Cup second round, St Oliver Plunketts 2, Wakehurst 2. However, the Wakehurst side won by 4-2 on penalties, securing their name in the hat for round 3. And I suppose if we look at the first division here at this moment in time, if FC Antrim definitely setting the pace at this moment in time, Ahocha Thistle are definitely there, there's no doubt about it. And All Saints and Raceview making up for a firmly top 4 for the middle of September. The table's just been published there, and in Division 2 we have Antrim Eagles with that win over Ballykeel there, obviously in Seven Towers and Ruby's Rovers, so definitely tight enough here. 2 points at the top for Antrim Eagles, setting the trend from the start of the season, carrying on from last year, winning 3 trophies and a promotion, and a good win against Ballykeel there today. And in Division 3 you have Riverside there, they've only one game played, is Riverdale, I should say, Steadfast, Carnock Swifts, and New Park Olympic.
Time. Get up, get a shape. Get the shape again. Post it! Right shoulder! Go on left! Watch your shoulder! Jake, close to left!
You know, 5.5 miles outside Ballymena, you've got the village of Kells. It's got a wonderful Chinese in it, absolutely great food. It's also got a McCool's, super value, absolutely outstanding store. And there's a Rococo, absolutely fantastic grub. But there's also a welcome from the Connor Football Club. Connor Football Club has been participating in football in Kells since 1976. They have had massive success over the years, and recently they have had a 2021 £1.2 million building created for new changing rooms and a new pitch, boarded off with fencing, with plenty of advertising, as the club is famous in the Ballymena Saturday morning ranks. However, there's also a new mugga, and plenty of room for plenty of people to be using it. And tonight I'm out looking at the new team in Kells called Twin Village FC. And these guys are just newly created, and there's easily 25 to 30 signings. They gained their first point last week, and I have a chat here with Danny Ramsey. Yeah, so I'm here with Danny Ramsey out at the Kells Mugga here on the Connor playing fields, and obviously, Danny, a wee bit on the Twin Village football. Listen, you've just established yourself, and you're just obviously joined the Ballymena Saturday Morning League, and you gained your first point last week. All the hard work during the summer, all the preparation, was it worth getting the point?
It's worth getting the point. Could have got the 3 points in my opinion, but we push on from there. We started off playing here about a year ago, probably Wednesday nights 8 to 9, and we're getting good numbers, over 20 usually a week. Guys were mentioning about starting up a wee team. Never really thought anything of it, to be honest, and then one day I was just like, why not? Contacted Brian Montgomery from the Ballymena Saturday Morning League. This was about applying for last year. Unfortunately I was a bit too close to the deadline, so didn't get to fulfil the expectations of doing the league then. Kind of let it die away a wee bit coming up to this season, and I seen Brian put a post up on Facebook again about the teams joining, so I said to the lads, look, going to go for it this time, and we're all in. So here we are, we're 8 games deep now, I think, or 7, and we're going into our first league match against the Huckle Rovers again, who we drew with at the weekend 3-3, and that'll be our first league game, or Division 3 in Ballymena Saturday Morning League.
I don't think people realise how much of a climb that actually is, and how much the hard work that's involved in the surroundings. You're saying there about a number of guys, the dedication that's here tonight in the bucket and rain on a Wednesday night. Now there's the rain's coming down very heavy. You must have 25 players here. That must be very internally satisfying.
It is, yeah, especially because, you know, as you said, Sherman, about the rain especially, it's usually when the rain starts you see the numbers dip down a bit. Boys are maybe wanting to stay in the house with their feet up and a wee cup of tea or something, but fair play to the lads here tonight. I think we have 24 there, not including myself and the 2 boys there to the side. We have a few injuries and they're even down to watch as well, which is good. But yes, as you said, the hard work that's been into starting this up, it's been crazy, to be honest. I never thought we'd actually get to this stage. Some of the guys in the changing room are still like kicking themselves, pinching themselves, you say, thinking, how have we got here? And after the draw on the weekend there and getting 3 goals and starting to get a bit of momentum about us now, it's things are starting to look up.
Did you notice a difference in the changing room after the 3-all draw? Did you notice a sense of obviously you wanted to achieve something by getting the win and stuff and getting your first win, but by getting your first point, did you notice a sense of underachievement from the lads, which would be a good thing?
Yes, some of the guys have said, look, great game. Everyone was buzzing. We were all filled the grouse after. I think there was over 20 of us in the grouse afterwards.
But discussed it to lose.
But discussed it to not get the 3 points.
It's a good thing.
It is. Yeah, the hunger's there. Definitely, that's one thing I can say about the guys. They're definitely, the hunger's there.
You know, and obviously I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I started a team years ago, and I totally understand the rigours of getting kits and stuff and sponsorships. Obviously, you're well sponsored. You mentioned your sponsors there.
I think we've got 3 sponsors on board at the minute, with some still to go. We've got our first sponsor was Rooney Transport, who did our home kit, and we've got some for the away kits too. I've actually got the away kit with me today. I haven't even told the lads it's arrived. It's a surprise for them, so we can actually go and get it here and bring it out if you want. Because none of the guys actually knew it has arrived yet. So
absolutely fantastic. And who is it sponsors that?
The away kit is travelmax.co.uk, opposite the Merchant there in Ballymena.
Well.
Yes, Travelmax. Yes. Yep. And Travelmax, and then Metal Technology from Antrim as well. We've got 2 on the away kit.
Amazing, absolutely wonderful. And this, obviously, the new kit sponsored by Travelmax there, obviously in the middle of Ballymena. An absolutely fantastic kit there, Dan. Dan, you know, listen, it must give you great incentive. Come as you are.
That's the sign as you come in the Kells there from the Preliminary Road. You'll see it says sign that says Kells. Below it says "Come as you are." So as the Nirvana song says as well.
That's right. That's right. That's what I was actually thinking there.
So it's a nice wee touch they've got.
It's an and then metal technology on the back of it. That's an absolutely fantastic feat you have created here within the first season. And obviously then Dan, back to the game, back to the club. Obviously, you'll take it week by week. Players pay their fees, you get the kit washed, you make sure everything's ready for Tuesday night, you get the bottles rinsed, make sure everybody has their boots cleaned. I had this weird thing at Rectory Rovers where if you didn't have clean boots you were fined £1. Oh, absolutely, because it showed discipline and disinterest, you know what I mean? And it was just one of those things that I wanted to do, Dan, to bring in something new, And Ryan Fudgy Quinn was one of my captains through the season. And how's Ryan getting on with you?
Oh, brilliant. Ryan's been great help. I first met Fudgy through work. Me and Fudgy worked for GES Group in Pennybridge there, and I've heard obviously from speaking to him, we're both Man United men, so from speaking to him about his footballing career and who he's played with in the Ballymena Starting Morning League throughout the years, he decided to come down and give us a hand, and he's been great, to be honest, and all the lads have took to him and warmed to him greatly, so I greatly appreciate it, all Fudgy's help, so it is.
He's got a great wealth of experience, and he was a very, very good player. And I'm sure if he's coming back into football after having kids and stuff like that there and being married, I'm sure his heart and soul's absolutely wrapped in it. So get the best out of him of what you can, because he will encourage.
That's it. No, you're right. And he brings the wee man down too. He brings one of the kids down, wee Colton, and he was actually in the squad photo you'll see on Facebook with the lads there we got at the weekend.
The only problem is he'd probably want him getting 20 minutes sometime.
I think so. He's looking at a tracksuit and all for him too.
Sure, that's not what it's all about.
That's it, exactly, getting everyone involved. As I said, the lads here now in the change rooms, we're turning into a wee family here now, and some of the lads are starting to realise that, and you can see the desire in the fight. It's good to see. It's brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah, it gives me great pleasure to have the big man in the house here. Wesley, an absolutely fantastic welcome to you. Welcome to the BSNTV studio, and I hope we can have a wonderful chat about the past as far as football is concerned. And I suppose, Wesley, basically more just about the history of your own love for the game, through your youth, obviously your junior youth, and getting into adulthood, and then I suppose realisation that one day maybe you're going to have to set the bag down and give it up, So over the period of the 30 or 40 years, Wesley, playing football, you think you've had some ups and downs and experiences. It's been a great journey for you, from Ballymena Saturday Morning League to the highest level in the Irish League, where it doesn't really get any better than that. That's not to mention European and international appearances and stuff.
It's been a journey. It was. It's been enjoyable. That. I mean, when I started off in this journey, if anybody had told me, early days, I would have got to where I got. Like, I would have laughed at them. I wouldn't have believed it. But I was lucky enough. I was very lucky. So I was. I mean, I was 26 when I made me move into Irish League football, and to be honest, I was lucky that I did get it at that time, because I could so easily have missed it. A few wee things happened, that was, playing football in the Summer Cup competitions with Cullybecky. If I hadn't played that game, who knows what might have happened. But yeah, I've been lucky enough, and it's been a fantastic journey. And playing in the old days, down the school football, and moving into the Saturday Morning League, and it was a good grounding. So it was, for what happened later.
So you obviously say there about your school, Wesley, obviously 1975, obviously the Telegraph Cup, which in many ways is the World Cup for a child, and for a young lad with the people that he lived next door with, and the people that he grew up with in the same housing estate, and and the pals that he knocked about way after school, to become the champions of Northern Ireland, it's not something that's not rendered after,
That was a big thing.
There's thousands of children didn't get that,
I hear it was a big thing for us. I mean, a lot. When I look back on that Telegraph Cup win, I mean, we had to get into 11-year-old kids had to go into the bogside at the height of the Troubles, which wasn't easy. And I remember that game where they actually tried to intimidate us. They tried to intimidate 11-year-old kids, which I didn't think was nice. But anyway, we got through it, and we won it 4-3 was the final score. But it was actually one of the first high pressure moments in my football life. Was the penalty kick that I had to take in that final, and luckily enough it went in. But that was one of the greatest feelings I ever had in football, was winning that Telegraph Cup, or not. It was fantastic, you know, for, as you say, it was fantastic for 11-year-old.
So I suppose, Wesley, in many ways, you played the part of the things that you dreamed of as far as it was on television. You know, you see the World Cup being won by a penalty, or you see a European Cup final being won by a penalty, and here's you in the biggest pinnacle. You know, if you put it into comparison as a child, you know the way a child dreams. You know, because if a child doesn't dream about football, Wesley,
of course, you know,
it loses its.
We thought we'd won the World Cup. To be honest, you know, it was a fantastic feeling at that age. So it was.
And obviously, the teacher, Harry Fisher. I met Harry Fisher no less than a month ago out at Eaton Park, and he was speaking about it. He was speaking about it as fresh. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. He was sitting with his son, and he was sitting with a big Jackie Fullerton's son, Big Nicholas, and he was talking. He says, "You know what?" He says, "I mind Wesley and thingy in 1974." I says, "Harry, I have the pictures here that I sent you," and I showed him. I nearly brought him to tears. That's gospel truth, Wesley.
Funny you should mention Harry Fisher. I mean, during that final, I can remember Harry getting on me up the line. Harry was very passionate, believe it or not, and every ball, he was kicking every ball. You could see him. You know, he was just. It wasn't the Harry Fisher that we knew at school. You know, he was just getting animated about the whole thing. So Harry was
a great man. There's no doubt about it. A great man. I've always, and even in our time of playing football, we had come maybe like 8 to 10 years after yourselves. And when we played, they always reminded us about how great that team was. And I think it was because there was a family connection with Michelle and Melvin there. You know, and it always was, you know, if you could just spur this up and get this going here, we could maybe repeat the glory of 74, you know. And then we started to wonder, what was this glory of 74? And then we wanted to do it, you know, and it became, you know, and I suppose that was what it was, you know. And listen, as a kid, even for myself, it was emotional, so I can only imagine what it was like for you to win it. And obviously, 1974 years were the only, 1975 years were the only team that ever won it from Dunkirk, and I don't think that'll ever be repeated because the whole scenario of the whole competition has totally changed.
Oh, has it?
And well, I think it's the coaching levels now. You know, if you don't have 7 or 8 classy footballers, you'll not even get to the third round now. You know, because if you look, Wesley, obviously in youth football, as well as you're more than likely aware, obviously, like youth football, even in Ballymena, from the early 70s to now, you go up to the Ballymena Showgrounds, there's 20 groups of kids. You go up to Carnelly, there's 20 groups of kids. You go to, you know, and that's all through the scenario of the grassroots levels. You have Billy Flaherty there, has pumped that right out, so he's got investment there, you know. And
Billy's done a great job.
Some of the work that them people have done, Wesley, MBEs aren't even good enough for people like that.
We didn't have any of that when we were young.
Do you understand?
It was all street football. We all played with ourselves, you know, the coach for goalposts and played in the road and the street and stuff like that there. You know, we don't have
Wesley, the old famous last goal's the winner.
You played on all night.
Do you know? So then obviously moving up into secondary school and that there, obviously we don't want to invest too much in that there because it's just the emotion of the memory as a child to the understanding of what the game of football is. Then starting more in League, Wesley, you ended up being a goalkeeper, but you weren't originally a goalkeeper.
It was actually your Melbourne that got me in. I started in league football. Robbie Starr was my first club. Only played 6 games for him. Scored 6 goals, believe it or not. I was only 18 at the time, I think. It's 18. Big Melbourne played for Robbie Starr. It was him got me into the team. And at the end of the season, we left Robbie Starr and went to North End. So North End basically was really my first club. Okay, I played 6 games for Robbie Starr, but I really look at North End really as my first club because I stayed a season with North End.
Aye.
And I was playing out for North End, and obviously that's where I had my first experience in goalkeeping. Well, I'd done goals when I was young in school and stuff like that there for the Boys Brigade and stuff like that there. And I remember, you know, some of the guys, you know, wanted me to stay in goals because they must have seen something in me, but I always wanted to play out. And well, anyway, with North End, I started doing goals. We turned up at Raceview one night without a goalkeeper. We had 11 players and no goalkeeper. And yours truly was the one that volunteered again. And to put it into perspective, Raceview had played us 2 weeks previously and beat us 7-0 in friendly. And it just panned out that we drew them in the first round of the Satsonborough Cup out at Raceview. So we turned up, obviously, bottom of second division, it was a foregone conclusion. You
You're not going to expect them
Raceview
much,
were a good
aye.
side then. You know, they were always fighting for top four, and we turfed them out at the cup 2-1, and yours truly had a blinder. So the boys more or less said, "You're staying in goals," sort of thing. So that was my journey in goalkeeping started. So at the end of that season, Robbie Stollers then, I signed for Robbie Stollers the next season. Robbie Stollers, the famous old Saturday morning.
Oh, aye.
Stayed a season with them, and then Ballymena came in. Ballymena asked me to come up and train with them. And to be honest, I didn't do myself justice up there. I was a wee bit overawed by the whole thing, to be honest. And then after Ballymena, I only stayed at Ballymena for a couple of months really, and then I couldn't get out of the place because I wasn't enjoying it, to be honest. And then drifted back into junior football with the mates, playing the soccer.
I know, understand, I know what you mean, aye.
Drifted into junior football for 4 or 5 years. Played with Cernini, Waveland Albion. After I left Ballymena, I went to Waveland Albion, played a season with them, and then went to Cernini for 2 or 3 seasons. Played for Cullybecky in the Amateur League.
Aye.
And then I think my final season of Saturday morning league football, Armstrong Beckett then came in. A man that I've total 150% respect for. To be honest, if it hadn't for Army Beckett, I wouldn't have got to where I went to, because Army was the
Wesley, a lot of people have said that about Armstrong Beckett over the years. You know, I know a handful of the older guys there that have always spoke so highly about Armstrong Beckett.
Well,
Army Beckett, he's a famous name in junior football.
I looked at Army as a father figure, to be honest. I let him down once, which I wasn't too proud of. It was a long story I'm not getting into. But he was a man that totally, it was him gave me the confidence and the belief that I could play Irish League football. And I think that season I played with England was very enjoyable. We played in the Amateur League. I don't know what league it was it 1C or something like that? But it was a very tough league. No easy games. And that was my last season. Basically, it was Big Army. I actually started training with Korean. I'd actually done 2 weeks pre-season with Korean.
Wasn't aware of that, Wesley.
Oh, I done 2 weeks pre-season with Korean, and
was that Jim Platt or what?
No, McFall. Ian McFall was a manager.
Ian McFall, aye.
And then while I was training with Korean, I'd obviously playing for Clough Rangers in the Summer Cup. Come in the Summer Cup competition.
Oh, how could you ever forget them?
It was a brilliant tournament.
I'll just interrupt here, Wesley, and say I think that's one of the greatest Raiders that we don't have any of them anymore.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Because I'll just say to you, I was going to Belfast one day for a job interview, Wesley, and the train went up by Penarol's pitch, and I looked and I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. It was a jungle. I think some of the greatest nights I ever watched junior football was whenever you got a team that was able to contest against Irish League teams. And it was some great events, as you're saying, they're not to take that off the conversation, mind you.
That Cullybecky tournament, that was a fantastic tournament, so it was. But luckily enough, Clough Rangers, we were playing in the semi-final against a team of Irish League players. And luckily for me, the manager of that team was Andy Scott. Andy Scott was...
Cullybecky, man, Linfield, that's right.
So he was, and luckily for me, I played a good game that night. Andy thought, Jesus, because Linfield at that time, George and Lap had just left. Linfield was sort of Portadown had won the league, and Linfield was sort of at the start of a rebuilding phase. And so once I heard, well, we played the semi-final on the Thursday night, but the final was on Saturday. I couldn't play in the final because I had to go to a wedding, a mate's wedding. And then I heard the Linfield interest, and I thought, oh Jesus, no. They're not going to follow up on their interest because they were coming up apparently to see me play in the final, which obviously didn't happen. But they kept the interest going and invited me to play in a friendly for them out at Huckle, funny enough. And ended up playing the friendly for them. And like David Chisholm was looking after the team that day, and he went back and gave me a good report. It went from there, obviously. And to be honest, once I heard Linfield were looking for me, that was it. It was.
So Wesley, this is a new atmosphere. This is a new aesthetic. This is a totally different attitude. This is this is your chance. This is your this is your moment, as you would say. From the kid that loved the game of football and all that. And not everybody got them opportunities. And to grab them opportunities, Wesley, it's probably been. So what was it like going up in and just going into the changing room in front of all these people who were big names? Lindsay McKeown and. You know, boys, David Jeffries,
Well,
and the people like that esteem Wesley. What did you feel? Did you feel under the cosh? Did you feel under pressure? Well, you're bound to feel under pressure. Of course, you felt under pressure. But did you feel under the level? Did you feel as if you weren't?
Obviously, there's nerves and stuff.
You know what I mean.
People. I was standing behind the fence watching these boys play football, and I was mixing with them and cheating. But the night I went up to sign, you know, Big Armstrong Beckett went with me, and we went into the office, Linfield office, and I looked at pictures and stuff, and walked into the Windsor Park, and obviously I had to pinch myself, you know, a couple of times, and Eric Boyer impressed me really because Linfield had just spent £10,000 on a goalkeeper, and Big Paul Prentice, who was an excellent goalkeeper, and £10,000 in them days was a lot of skill for a goalkeeper, and a lot of people actually had said to me from here, people involved in the football said, don't be signing for Linfield, you're never get your place. You've just spent 10,000 on Paul Prentice. And I didn't look at it that way. I was looking at it from the knowledge type of thing, you know, playing for a club like Linfield. Playing for a club like Linfield would have been, you know, just don't turn down Linfield. But anyway, Eric Boyer convinced me that night. He said to me, he says, listen, son, because I think that the topic came up with it. Paul Prentice, you know, I mean, the money they spent on him and stuff, and Eric said to me, he says, look son, he says, if you do the business you'll be in, full stop. And fair play to him, he was true to his word. It took a lot of balls to do what Eric Boyer done. I mean, most managers wouldn't even, you spend that kind of money.
You're supposed to be getting something in return. I understand.
Eric Boyer, you know, what he did, and it took balls to do what he did, and he threw an amateur league goalkeeper. And, you know, and I'll always be grateful for him for that, because, you know, like that first season I made 34 appearances.
So you have become the number one. Wesley, I think if you play 34 games in your first season, surely you are the number one choice.
Well, I wouldn't say it. I was an up and down season there. As I say, Linfield were in transition, and there was a few FA games, and you know, even though I was 26 years of age, it should have been experienced. I wasn't experienced at that level. You know, they handle the downtimes and stuff, and you know, there was people giving you abuse, and you had to deal with that. You know, if you were having a bad game, you were getting abuse from behind the fence and stuff, and that all had to be dealt with. I had to learn to, you know, deal with it, and but I dealt with it all right. And I think the second season, I played the first 3 games, and then got a knee injury, and then Big Paddy, Alan Patterson, he came in then and he played the whole season. But I think that season I played in the Swiss was a good grounding for me, because like a lot of people don't realise, it took me about 2 seasons to really settle into the place, to really get a grasp of the place and stuff. And I think that season I spent in the Swiss was a good grounding for me, because I was determined then afterwards. I said to myself, I get my place again. I'm not giving it up. You know, and
you're willing to work hard for it too, Wesley. Because there's many a man would have turned around and says, well, you know, I've had my chance, I'll maybe just come back into, you know, then would you have felt like a quitter then? Would you have felt like a quitter if you had it? Says that or not?
No, I don't think I was ever a quitter. Like, you know, I don't think I ever felt along those lines. I said to myself, the only reason I'll be going out that door is when they tell me to go out.
You're going to give it your here. You give it your all.
I was determined. You know, I knew this was my last chance, and I wasn't going to let it go. And obviously, playing for a club like Linfield, you know, it was going to be there. And it was I think what motivated me, there was a lot of motivation from people around Ballymena, believe it or not, because I was getting stories back that, you know, Lamont will not last 10 minutes up there, and these stories like that there, like, and they used that for motivation, because I was determined to show them, you know, that I would, you know, that would last more than 10 minutes. And luckily enough, I did.
And I suppose the old saying is, Wesley, out of all negativity, is if people throw stones, build a house, or build a castle. You know, I've been in that position myself in life at times, you know, and obviously, yeah, you know, that's life, you know. But Wesley, get in then, obviously, to the seasons where you're starting to pick up, you're back in the driving seat again as far as the goalkeeper representation for the club's concerned. You're winning your first 10 league games, you're winning your first 15 league games, you're getting a couple of draws, and you're getting back on the bike again, and before you come to February, it looks like as if you're sold out, you can be league champions. Getting up every Saturday morning, Wesley, 8:30, 9:30, having a breakfast, and sitting about and saying to yourself, surely to God, that's living the dream.
No, of course. I mean,
surely that's living the dream. What was your Saturday routine Up breakfast,
Saturday
newspaper.
Not just up, chill.
But you've so much to look
sometimes-
forward to. Is where I'm coming from.
Sometimes I would go down and watch Carnina in the morning, and it was all about mental preparation, really. Depends who you were playing. Obviously, the bigger game. Obviously, anybody that says they don't get nervous for a game,
Well, he shouldn't be playing.
should be playing.
It doesn't mean anything. I always said that myself.
Obviously, the worst period on a Saturday was the hour before the game. When you're in the changing room getting changed, and you're out warming up, you just want to get out there and start it. And once the game started, obviously, and a couple of good first early touches. In a big game, it was always good to get first couple of early touches and usually settle you down for the rest of the game. It was a similar routine for every game. It was more, you started your mental preparation really on a Thursday night after training. You would play certain scenarios in the game in your head and stuff. And, it was more or less the same every Saturday. So it was, but it was exciting. It was, nervous.
That's what I'm looking for there. It's bound to have been just.
It was, and obviously when you win the game, when you lose, it's not so good. The Linfield men were Linfield fans were very demanding. And obviously when you made a mistake, it was a wee bit worse, because they never, when you're a goalkeeper and when you make a mistake at that level, it's usually always punished.
And it hangs over you for quite a period of time too, Wesley. It'll always be remembered, really.
Yep, and you can't wait to the next game, so you can get a solid game behind you again, because at Linfield, you weren't allowed to, if you had a bad game, never really said much about it, you would go to training and keep your head down and work and wait for the next game. And if you have a bad game the next game, you would maybe, the manager would maybe call you to the side. You haven't been too good in the last two games. If you don't do it on Saturday, you're out. Someone was out there. And you had to do it. You just had to perform. And luckily enough, I didn't have too many bad spells. But that was the way it worked. And it was good. It was good going through that there, because it toughened you as a player as well. When you realise at that level you had to perform. Like a Saturday morning league, if you get beat in the game, yes, you're disappointed, you get beat and stuff like that there, but you don't have the pressure, of letting thousands of people down. That way.
Well, Wesley, surely pressure would accumulate after you started winning silverware, because you'd won the league there, and you'd won the cup, which was a double, and you'd won the Floodlight Cup all in the same season. And that's great. That's what you're there for. That's the glory. That's the dream. But then, Wesley, that's additive pressure, isn't it? Is it that?
That
Did you just win the league 2 years in a row?
2 years in a row.
You did, and then the third year you lost it. That's right. You have it there.
94.
That's right. Yes, you have it here.
95. I think. I can't understand why that team. That was a good side. That was a real good team. I don't understand why that team didn't go on and dominate.
Wesley, they were some side, weren't they? They were some side. The Hawk and
a lot of people don't realise the next season we were hit with some terrible luck. Injuries. We were absolutely decimated with injuries. So we were, and we couldn't get any rhythm going at all. But we still won the County Antrim Shield in the Irish Cup. But it sort of all broke apart after that. And I can't understand, because that team was a good side. It should have dominated for the next.
They were a class side, Wesley, weren't they? All the same.
What they say, a light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. So that was.
And who were the? I think everybody seen who were the good players, but for you, who were the class players there that gave that extra wee additive?
We had characters in that team all over the park. So we never knew when we were beat. I mean, we went unbeaten that season from November. Plus, we had the two momentous games against Copenhagen and Toulouse.
Unbelievable! I'll never forget them.
And but
I'll get to that point.
I mean, in a minute, from January, February onwards, we realised, this could be something special this season. And every game we played that year was obviously a cup final. Really,
did it just get better and better and better?
Oh, it just get better and better. Every game, the games just get bigger and bigger, and
the noise got louder, and the passion got more warm, and the
Linfield,
and then belief and confidence.
The belief and confidence was always there, But we had to play. I think the final season, or the final week of the season, we had to play 4 games. We had to play on the Saturday. We had to go down to Portadown, which was a massive game, because if Portadown had won that day, they'd have won the league. And we had to win to stay in it, because we were sitting in 3rd place. And there was 10,000 people in Shamrock Park that day. and we beat them 2-0, and that kept us in it. And we then realised the title was in our hands because we had 2 league games left. We played Newry. We had the League Cup final on the Tuesday night after the Portadown game, which we beat Korean 2-0. And then we had to play on the Thursday night against Newry, away. And we drew 1 each, and people then thought we'd blew it then, because what that did was that put the title in Glenavon or Portadown's
that's right.
hands.
Sure, it was. I've watched it 100 times.
So it was.
Wesley, what was it like in the change room after? I might ask you there. What was it like in the change room in the Newry game? Was there any talking?
No.
Was it just a death? Was it, Wesley?
It was every game you lost at Linfield was like a death in the family. It was just nobody said a word in the chat. It was just Linfield's changing rooms after a defeat weren't very nice places. Nobody opened their mouth. You were scared to open your mouth. You know, it was that was the way it was up there. But after the Newry game, you know, we were disappointed. Like, there's no doubt about it. We thought we blew it, and we were looking really a miracle. We knew that we needed Portadown and Glenavon to draw on the Saturday, and we were playing Glentoran at home. So,
and Wesley, what more of a mix-up could you ever get? You couldn't have read. There's no
you couldn't have written
media
script.
could not have written that script.
No.
That the 2 main mid-Ulster sides, who were damn good sides, Ferguson, Stevie Cowan, Sandy Fraser, Greg Davison, to name Gary, your boy McCartney, probably one of the greatest players I've ever seen, Wesley, and obviously Ray McCoy.
Ray McCoy as well.
You know, and then
Stephen McBride,
and Stephen McBride and Glentoran at that stage were a rip-tight team. Yous were the champions. Yous were the cream of the crop. But for all that there to happen within the 90 minutes, well, it wasn't 90 minutes, it was like 98 minutes, was it?
Well, I have to say, I don't think I went through as many different emotions in the football.
I've watched it 100 times. I've watched it because of obviously knowing you, and I've watched it, you know,
first of all,
to try and feel and see.
First of all, the Glentoran then they were shouting, they were singing, "You're not champions anymore," and all. They were laughing it up, like they were loving it, because they were basically telling us the score coming from Mornview Park, and it transpired that Glenavon were 2-0 up at half time. And Trevor, he goes at half time, says, "Look, lads, just win this game. Just win this game, and let what happens on the other side, let it take care of itself." And sure enough, we went out, and next thing, I can't remember the exact sequence, like, but
there was a couple of massive cheers, wasn't there?
Linfield then getting a cheer, the Linfield fans getting a cheer, so we realised then Portland must have scored. You're thinking, but at the same time you're concentrating on the game, obviously. But then we scored to make it 1-0. And then I think there was a massive cheer from the South Stand. And the Cop, because the Cop was full of Linfield men out there, I remember. 2 each, and Trevor Anders was going mad on the touchline, and obviously we had realised it's 2 each at Mornview Park, and then we scored again. Desi Gorman scored again. Obviously we're 2-0 up, and the Linfield men there. So it's like I wouldn't say it's half-hearted singing, but they can sense something special's happening here. And well, anyway, 2-0. The referee blew the final whistle, and it was you didn't really want to celebrate because you knew the game was going on at Mornview Park. And there was a couple of hundred Linfield men on the pitch, and I think there was a few hundred.
Wesley, the way you're talking about it, I can almost feel the pressure here in this room.
And the way there was a few hundred Glentoran men standing in the corner of the old Windsor Park, as you remember. I think they were sitting ready to see if Portland and Glenavon had scored so they could slag us. But I think it was 4 minutes we had to stand on the pitch, listening to radios, and
there was no phones in them days, Wesley.
No, it was the longest 4 minutes I think I've ever suffered in my life. I tell you, there was one where the commentator was he was commentating on it, and I think it was the last minute, and it's Casey, and Casey's climbed through. He could win it for the Ports. He hits it. It's past the post, and I'll be honest with you, I nearly collapsed.
I know what you're saying. I've seen it 100 times, honestly.
And next thing, about 10 seconds after that, referee blew the final whistle, and honestly, Sherman, I tell you, the euphoria, I don't think I've ever felt anything like it in my life. It was just like a release of adrenaline, and the whole place just went mad. It just went nuts, and it was just fantastic. Really
one of the things I remember about that there is the manager. What was his name? The former
Trevor
manager,
Anderson.
Trevor Anderson. He's sprinting about, going crazy with the coat on, but he doesn't know what direction he's running in. If you see the video, he's just all over the place, and then obviously watching yourself, and then people get lifted and all. Listen. So was that moment there is about to be worth all the sacrifice you ever made to try and get into
of course. I mean, all the training sessions, and
all the hardship
and stuff like that. There, and for that one moment was just it was definitely the peak of my football career without a shadow of a doubt.
You'll never ever live that down.
Never let know it was the peak. And then obviously we had the Irish Cup final the week after. It was a fantastic week. So it was. I mean, in that week we played 4 massive games, won 3 trophies in that 2 weeks. And
Wesley, I want to bring you to the Irish Cup final that time there, because no less than like 15 years before that, you were jumping over the fence with a hat on, parading like a clown for Ballymena United. Your photo in the paper as a solid, it doesn't matter who it was for.
I was a passionate Ballymena fan.
But then within 10 or 15 years, you're actually getting up, and you're getting up in the morning time, and yet again, I repeat myself, you're having your breakfast, you're living your dream, you're going to a hotel, you're getting your lunch, and you're appearing at the biggest festivity. And you were a man of nostalgia. You're a man of Brian Moore. You're a man of, and here they come walking out the tunnel at Wembley, and there's you're doing this here. And Wesley, the smile on your face even says it all there now. Tell me this here. Put it into perspective. You can't buy it. You can't buy that.
You can't buy it. I mean, 93-94 season obviously was the peak of my career. I mean, it was a fantastic season.
It doesn't get any better than that, like.
And then after that it's obviously we won the Irish Cup the next year in the County Machine. They won an Ulster Cup with Korean, but 93-94 season, obviously you did better than that. Obviously the peak of my career.
I think anybody's fighting very hard there too, and I suppose like every footballer, it doesn't mean to say, Wesley, that any of the other trophies that you won didn't carry the same emotion, and that you didn't. It didn't mean anything to you, but it's just I think if you said to Kennedy Glees, or if you says to any of these other, like footballers who have had remarkable careers and have won, like Kennedy Glees won ever myself, I'm sure that's as great, but it wouldn't be as good as the night perhaps.
They won the European Cup.
They won the European Cup and scored the goal. There's obviously them reasons there for things, you know what I mean? But Wesley, in between times, you mentioned a couple of times there about obviously getting out of the success that you had at Linfield, which was absolutely humongous. It was unbelievable and thoroughly well deserved through all that panic of the games and running up the end of the season. Your European games, Wesley, that night against Copenhagen, me and my dad sat and watched at the house. My dad nearly had a heart attack. It was on at 10:40, the highlights. So you couldn't, as I'm saying, Wesley, phones now, you can actually go onto the phone now on a Saturday morning and you'll get who scored the last goal in the Saturday morning league. This is 25, 30 years ago, we didn't have all that. So that goal, that free kick, I remember it as well. It just went right through your hands. Did you not see it?
No, I'll never forget. No, to be honest. I mean...
And you were already drawn to play AC Milan the next round.
You see, no, the draw didn't happen to the Friday. We didn't know he would play, but we had a funny feeling. We thought, the changing room before the game, we even talked about it. Says, right, lads, AC Milan.
There's a lot of talk about it. I know it was on the news and all now, I should say there, perhaps, maybe.
I think I even made the comment in the changing room before the game. I said, right, lads, bring on AC Milan. So it was tongue-in-cheek sort of thing, like, you say stupid things. Try to motivate players and stuff. But that night in Copenhagen, we were 2-0 down in 20 minutes. We obviously won the first game at Windsor Park 3-0, which is a great result. But in Copenhagen, Linfield had 1,000 fans over that night. It created a great atmosphere in the Park and Stadium. But we were 2-0 down in 20 minutes, and we thought, we blew this, And then we held up 2-0 at half time, and Trevor Anderson came in and absolutely tore strips off us. Who the hell do we think we are? That sort of way, because we went to Copenhagen thinking we could play openly, and play them at their own, and instead of tightening up, but we were 2-0 down. But when we did tighten up, we held out until a few minutes into injury time. I don't know how many, they say 4, 5, 6 minutes into injury time, and they got a free kick outside the box. And the referee actually said to the player taking a free kick, "This is your last chance." So he's more or less giving them you have to shoot here. And I thought I had the wall set up nicely, and I was, sitting there really concentrating. You're not beating me here, you fucker. So
your life was on the line,
And he hit a ball And honestly, Sherman, I've never been beaten by a higher shot in my life. I think the only time I recognised something like a ball was when at the split second it went past the wall. After that, I never seen it. The next time I seen the ball was picking out of the net. You know, it went in like a bullet, and 3 each, and then extra time, and we realised in the fourth goal. The fourth goal, I actually blame myself for the fourth goal because I was trying to protect an injury. And a big dirty grass pouring up the side of me, and I sort of went, instead of going like that there with my hands, you know, I went with my feet, and I luckily rebounded off his leg, went into the net, you know, and 4-3, and we thought we could take it to penalties, and unfortunately that wasn't the case. And to be honest, we were gutted that night. We were devastated because we realised, Jesus, we were so close. We were so close. And then when Friday came,
And that would have been a history making.
it would have been. I mean, AC Milan were the best team in the world.
They were indeed, weren't they? Weren't they?
And when the Friday draw came out, and it was AC Milan, I doubled over and put my hands on my knees. I was really sick. I thought, Jesus.
Now that would have been an event.
Dirty, lucky, you know. And I mean,
that would have been some adventure, Wesley.
I mean, AC Milan would have filled Windsor Park. There's no doubt about that. And I couldn't watch a game in the San Siro for about 2-3 months after it. I couldn't because it broke my heart because I felt as if we were so close to playing in there, you know, and playing against the best team in the world. They actually beat Barcelona that season in the final.
They did indeed.
So they did.
That's right.
We were one kick of the ball from playing.
4-0.
But that's football.
Well, obviously Dynamo Tbilisi, Wesley. The possibly the best game you think you ever played. There was a lot of Russian videos about it and stuff like that. There, it would have been great to have had the highlights of all that stuff. You know,
you can still get the game on YouTube and stuff like that. There, and a boy sent it to me a couple of seasons ago. I didn't believe it. I knew there was highlights of it, but I didn't realise you can get the highlights, the saves and stuff. But I think I played a better game in Grasshoppers.
Right.
For Korean, I think it was better. Played that better.
Grasshoppers of Zurich.
Grasshoppers Zurich. Okay, that was good in Tbilisi. It was fantastic playing from a 50-60,000.
My goodness.
It was just amazing to play a game like that and the setting, you know. But no, it was my first European game, and to be honest, it was a very eventful trip, the Tbilisi trip, because we had to get through an emergency landing in Ukraine, which was very exciting. We were coming in, and Shelburne and Linfield had chartered a plane between them to cut costs. We were coming into Ukraine to land, and obviously when the plane came into land, you could feel the thrusters going on. And he's going for another run here because he's overshot the runway. That's what I thought anyway. As we're coming into the second landing, while we're doing this, the flight attendants, they're going like this here, and you could visibly see sweat. I could visibly see sweat in one of them. I thought,
Totally panic, you know.
what's going on here, you know, sort of thing. As we hit the runway for the second run, I looked out the window, seen a fire engine flying down the runway. I thought, what the hell is, Jesus, what's going on here, sort of thing, you know. And anyway, the plane came to a stop. We'd obviously landed safely, and Shelburne, they were getting off the plane, and they had a bus organised for them. Obviously, got all their gear and all onto the plane. And as I was coming down the stairs, I heard this banging. As I looked down the front undercarriage, there was two guys working on it with a sledgehammer. I thought, Jesus Christ, this is a bit rough. And all the Shelburne boys got into the bus. My one defining memory of that night was all the Shelburne party, when they were on the bus, all their heads were turned towards the plane. Every one of them, all heads turned towards the plane, and you could tell what they were thinking. So these guys have to get back on this plane again. So, to be honest, that was one of the quietest take-offs I've ever had in my life. Nobody opened their mouth in that plane when we took off. But we took off and landed in Tbilisi safely, and obviously the rest is history. But that was exciting, and it was an exciting trip all around. But I think it was the first time actually I've seen real poverty in my life.
I remember you telling me that one time a long time ago.
It was.
You'd seen kids outside the hotel and stuff. You were saying they had nothing.
Nothing, you know. Some of them were on about their bare feet. We were throwing dollar bills out the window at them, and they were, you know, something like $2-3 was the month's weekly wage, and we were throwing our spare dollars out the window at them, you know, and they were grabbing it and all that. It really struck home to you know how lucky you were in some cases, and the hotel itself. The hotel was one of the most luxurious hotels I've ever stayed in my life, in the middle of a slum. You couldn't understand it. It was like a white elephant in the middle of this shanty town.
Right.
And noticed in the back of the reception was, please leave firearms behind the desk. And at night time when you were lying sleeping, I think they were actually in the middle, there was actually there was actually a bit of a civil unrest. We could hear gunshots in the distance, and actually one of the days we were out chilling, walking out around the hotel, I found a spent bullet casing outside the hotel. So that was the environment we were in playing, and I know a lot of people hear a lot of people saying that, it was very intimidating, I loved it. I actually loved it, so I did. I mean, there was boys running about, guarding us with Kalashnikov rifles and stuff. And it was the Georgian mafia, I think, was looking after us. And they went everywhere with us, and they treated us like kings. I can't say enough good about the Georgian people. They really treated us really well. And what it was an experience. It really was a great experience and a learning experience too. To see what communism, because Georgia was part of the old Soviet bloc.
CCP, yeah.
And to see real
I mean, that was just after the wall went down.
That was just after the wall went down. We were actually the first Western visitors into Tbilisi. So we were the first Western visitors, and they treated us like royalty.
So internationally, connection-wise, there, I suppose responsibility would come into it a lot. You could have been kidnapped or anything there really at that stage, couldn't you? That not to put an overemphasis on it, but
we were well looked. I mean, the guys that were looking after us, they were sinister-looking chaps. When you see a guy with Kalashnikov rifle.
Aye, well, that's what I'm saying. That type of atmosphere, it's not really too warm, is it?
I don't think anybody would have. I think anybody that would have tried him funny would have been dealt with severe manner.
For the use of a word there, Wesley, international. Obviously, you had been selected into the Northern Ireland B side then after your efforts over the number of years of proving that you were playing for the best club in the country, and you were the number one choice for the number one club in the country, and basically that had probably rendered you as to be the number one goalkeeper in Northern Ireland at that stage. I know you maybe wouldn't, but to be selected then.
I was in the middle of good form, when I was picked for the Northern Ireland squad, it was really, it was an eye opener, really. Training with boys like that, training with full-time pros and stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, the boys were all down to earth. That was one thing I was, what these guys going to be like, sort of thing. But the trip we had to Austria, we won that night, and Keith Gillespie scored a cracker that night. But the night we had out after was just fantastic.
The Ernst Happel Stadium.
The Ernst Happel Stadium, and I think I came with a whisker at playing for Northern Ireland. The manager had a choice to make. Big Paul Key was the other keeper, and I roomed with Big Paul in that trip. And Paul was a great big lad. And Big Paul had played in that stadium before. So he had. So
he had played for Northern Ireland, you see, yes.
The manager had a choice to make. Do I play the experience, or do I go with the inexperienced keeper who's in form, and he chose the experience, and it was the right decision.
Well, I suppose in footballing understandings, I think anyone would be nearly saying, look, that's anybody would have went with that type of decision.
You've got to understand. Big Paul had a brilliant. It was the right decision because Big Paul played a blinder that night.
That's right, he did.
And I was really delighted for him because Big Paul's a lovely little fella. But that's how close. I think that was the closest it came. I was on the bench against Portugal in the Republic of Ireland. Walked out with Roy Keane in the tunnel, which was, Roy Keane.
That's wee tiny guy here compared to the big 6-footer like yourself.
4 years ago I was playing in the Saturday morning league.
I know what you're saying.
And which was an experience. And I wasn't really close in those two games. I was really a reserve goalkeeper, but the two big internationals against Scotland and the Portuguese on the 21 side, which was an experience. They were a good side. And we beat them 2-0, believe it or not. And a lot of them players went on and played for the future Portuguese side. Players played for that team. And but they're great experiences. So they were. And to get the Northern Ireland Cup, even at B level, was made me very, very happy. I mean, from North End to
well, you see, that's where I'm going to come from there, Wesley. If you look at it obviously over the years, I suppose for all the viewers out there that are listening here, and you've got some guy there playing the third division at the minute, and he's doing well, and he sort of shows a bit of light, and he's enjoying himself. And within 5 or 6 years, he's winning the Irish League, he's winning the Irish Cups, He's winning all the other cups, the county anthem shields, and then within 7 years he gets a B cap, and he goes on 3 or 4 different journeys to Europe. And if that's not what you would call success, there's one question I'm going to ask you here at the end now, and I know that you might not take too light to it. And the question is, do you think you should have went a wee bit harder, a wee bit earlier? Because at 26 years of age, if you were able to do that, if you'd have been doing what you were doing at 26 by the time you were 18, Wesley, then obviously the weighing scale states that you know what. And I know that's the ultimate old question, isn't it?
That's an excellent question, Sherman, because
that's the ultimate old question, isn't it? Why did I not do this?
It's one of the asked.
But then, Wesley, if your hindsight had been as good as your foresight, you wouldn't end up coming from where you were going to. You know what I mean?
It's a well-known fact that when I was younger, I wasn't exactly an angel.
Well, I don't think anybody was, Wesley. You know what I mean? But concentrative levels.
I think
people do these things. They like to go out and have a beer at the weekend, and and all that.
I think the application in the early days wasn't what it should have been. Going to Ballymena.
Do you think was the realisation not there that you could have? And then is that where Army and them boys come in?
I think if
Jeff Blair maybe would have pumped something into you.
I think if I'd have met Armstrong Beggett when I was 16. It might have been different. I mean, the biggest compliment that was ever paid in football came from the great Harry Gregg, who done go for Manchester United. I was sitting talking to him one day, and he turned around and said, I was totally out of the blue, I was totally shocked, and I was moved by it, to be honest, when somebody like Harry Gregg. I've
interviewed Harry, I said that before.
Harry Gregg.
Never met a more stern talking man in all my life.
Harry Gregg said to me one day, he said, listen, son, I wish I'd have met you when you were 16, and I'd have had you across the water.
That says a hell of a lot, Wesley.
And that's probably the best compliment I've ever been paid in my life. When Harry Gregg says that to you, and then it got me thinking. I said to myself, you stupid son of a bitch.
Aye, depression and all that. They're thinking too much, obviously.
What were you doing? And I think that realisation hit me. The first trip I went to Linfield. I mean, the first season I played with Linfield, we got booked on a trip to go to America. And I thought, geez, we're going to America, it's brilliant. And that realisation, I was walking down the beach in Fort Lauderdale, sun splitting the stones, and I'm like, what have you done with your life, you silly son of a bitch? When I realised, I thought to myself, I missed 5-6 years. I should have had 5-6 more years in the game. And all that came, I think maybe my love for Crenini, I love playing for Crenini. And maybe that was part of it, but I realised then, I thought to myself, Jesus, I should have applied myself a bit better. And that's probably the only regret, but I still offset that way. I look at it, I was lucky when I was 26.
You still got something out of it.
I was lucky.
You still got something. Now, the other question is then, imagine you hadn't got something out of it.
Oh, I don't even...
Do you understand? You see, Eamon Loughran's the same. If you look at it in boxing terms, Eamon Loughran had the world title and the Commonwealth title, won, defended 5 times, investments made, and life sewn up and retired by 23 years of age. I still say he should have went on to about 28.
Yeah.
And I know, and everybody knows that Eamon even knows himself, that 5 or 6 year period was that he had kids. He was get married.
But see, that's the thing.
So these are different angles in life, Wesley, and different interruptions.
A lot of people don't look at that.
Of emotional cycles of life,
you have different directions in life and stuff like that. And I think when I left Ballymena, I think that was a big... I think I went to Ballymena too early. I think I should have played another 2 years in amateur football and then made the step into Irish League football. Then I think I might not play for them.
And then, Wesley, it's not wrong to say that there was a time in your life that it was your dream to play for Ballymena United.
I grew up with Ballymena fan.
Do you know Dennis Matthews?
No doubt about that.
Brian White.
But there's no saying, once a blue man, always a blue man.
Well, I suppose your Belfast ethos, Wesley. You're originally from Belfast, and once you're sort of indulged and blessed in the red, white, and blue, I don't think there's too many people. You could ask Pat Fenlon that. You could ask any band from the south that ever played to the club and say, look.
I looked at, Linfield changed my life. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I look at my life in 2 stages, before Linfield and after Linfield. Linfield, it straightened me out. It made me disciplined, made me focus on the game a lot more. And I think if I'd had somebody, early in my career, like somebody like Army Beggett or Harry Gregg or somebody out there, direct me better, it might have been.
And tell you things you didn't want to hear.
Aye. tell you thing. I mean, that was a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of players now. I mean, Alan Dornan. Alan Dornan is a player I have 200% respect for. Alan Dornan was one of those guys. If he looked at you, he'd give you a certain look, and you knew what he was thinking. You didn't have to say anything, you know, and you knew you had to knuckle down.
Possibly one of the hardest fullbacks I ever played anything with.
Jesus, I mean, that '94 team, the two best fullbacks I ever played behind my right was Easton and Dornan. I mean, they've been through a brick wall for you. And obviously Spearsy and Noel Bailey. Noel Bailey could read a book. Like,
and he went on to probably Wesley be probably one of the best Irish League players ever.
1,000 games.
You know, that's unprecedented. That was totally unprecedented.
Games.
That must be a 15 or 16 year period.
Oh, for goodness sake, man!
And Wesley is good at the end, is what he was at the start.
Oh, Noel was a great wee professional, and that team was full of.
Do you ever meet any of the old boys, Wesley, out and about? You were up in Belfast someday, and all of a sudden you walk into one of them.
Sometimes you would, but mostly you would meet them, you know, and get-togethers. Sometimes we would get together, you know, and we'd won there for the '94 side there a while back, and it's always good meeting the boys again. You know, it's always good crack. And the fans always treat you like kings. You know, every time you got me one of them, they never had you put your hand in your pocket. They always.
Deadly, I can imagine.
To be honest, it's one of the good things because it's how I started drinking. Again, drinking up, 18 years ago, it was at a Linfield do actually, and the drink was flying. You know, it was whiskey, vodka, you know, and I got absolutely plastered. And the next morning, I woke up and I turned around and said, I was absolutely dying. I turned around and said, that's it, I'm off the drink. And so I was, I stayed off it. I had the odd wee beer, you know, and some
wedding or something there.
2 beers, and that's it, gone, you know, but best thing I ever done. But it was at Linfield do that got me off the drink, so they got me off a lot of things. They got me going well on a lot of things. But,
and obviously your time then, Wesley, just to sort of to sew things up, obviously, you were talking there about that great ending to the season, which I don't think there's ever been a different ending, a better ending to the season. But a number of years later, it was the turn of the coin, and you were pulling off sales left, right, and centre, and you stopped Linfield from winning. You know, so you're blowing a lot of smoke up Linfield here, and then all of a sudden I have to put your dampers out there and just say, you know, explain that one to me, because I've been watching it in the news. Wesley, I don't think I've seen any more better saves in all my life. There was 5 or 6 saves on that TV that day, and they were absolutely unbelievable.
I mean, that was a.
They were top drawer, like, weren't they?
I think Linfield needed to win. They stay. I think Cliftonville. There was 2 games left, and Cliftonville had drawn 1 each for Glentoran, and Linfield had to win against Coleraine to take the game into the last game of the season. And, to be honest, I know the saves I made that day. I think any keeper worth his salt would have made them. But I remember coming out at half time, and the Linfield men were hanging tenors out the fence at me. I thought myself, Christ. You know, they were hanging, you know, come on, Wales, you know.
You're going to hear it here from now on in.
And I thought,
you've had your romance.
You had to be professional, you know. But she might have made a mistake that day. Honestly, I might have made a mistake that day, and Linfield had scored. I'd have been slaughtered. You know, some boys would have said, I just don't know. But that's the pressure I was under that day. I couldn't, and there was actually one time I did come from across, and I went to my holiday, so I missed it completely. But the ball bounced about, and one of our defenders cleared it. So we did, but I was under a lot of pressure that day. If I'd have conceded a goal that day from a mistake, I'd have been slaughtered. You know, and to be honest, when the final whistle went, it was 0 each. It finished 0 each. Anybody knowing how Dennis Law felt that day at United down, that's where I felt. I walked off the pitch. You know, but anyway, like Jeffries and all them, they made me feel that look, Linfield didn't lose the league today. They lost over the season.
That wasn't your fault.
I had one decent game.
But it is quite a double whammy, Wesley, of emotions, isn't it? You know, it's as you were saying, it's that rebellious thing. You've went to the other side, and you've done what you shouldn't have done, but you still had to do it. That's what football, that's what professionalism in life is about. You know, like
what annoyed me was, I mean, the Coleraine team I went to in the '97 season, we were a good side. Coleraine were a good side down there. We should have won the league. Actually, should have won the league. And then after that, it went downhill. You know, and I thought, you know, we should have went on, that Coleraine team. A couple of more additions to the squad and we should have went on, but it didn't happen for us, you know, and we got out and put a performance on against Linfield and we were getting beat, you know, with other teams, lesser teams. And, you know, the chairman of the Korean at that time, Sean, and them was coming in about £500 the table. We were third from bottom, third or fourth from bottom, you know, and things like that there, that annoyed me, you know, it annoyed me that day. And to put £500 on the table, Crosby, Stamp, Linfield winning the league, you know, was it angered me a wee bit.
That's smug, isn't it? It's a bit smug, to be honest with you.
You asked yourself, these players, the same experience at Ballymena. You know, we're beating Linfield in the final of County Antrim Shield, and we go down on Saturday and get beat 3-0 with Donegal Celtic. You know, it was so frustrating at Ballymena, you know, when I was up there coaching, you know.
I always
we were capable of great performances, you know, but it was never consistent. There were no consistent.
And getting on to Ballymena, obviously, after you'd retired, Wesley, you know, like the retirement came, and just, you know, I want to ask one question there, just on the retirement. When did you know that you had had enough, or did you know that? Did you see it leaving you? Did you feel it leaving you? Did you know before you went on the pitch that day?
I felt
that, you know, like this is that. I can't do this. It's not I can't do it anymore, but it's not going to get any better.
When I left Irish League football, I think the biggest mistake I made was going back into junior football again. I don't think I should have back into junior football again. That's no disrespect to junior football. My attitude, you know, I try to take an Irish League attitude into Saturday morning league, and I mean, actually, there's some guys that, you know, would walk by me in the street when they speak to me because
I know what you're saying. It was a bigger scenario.
I was a sort of, you know, I would have a go at somebody because that's the way I went through.
I understand that.
Grounding that I went through. You know, if you weren't doing it, and somebody, you know,
and it was good for you.
There's two ways you go: you shite yourself or you focus.
But it was good for you.
But it was good for me, and you know, I just didn't work, you know, and. But anyway, I delved into the coaching a wee bit and stuff like that there, and Ballymena, I coached at Ballymena for 4 years as goalkeepers, and the first 2.5, maybe 3 years was enjoyable. I mean, we should have won the Irish Cup, and we should have won the Irish League, or the Irish League Cup. We won a couple of County Antrim Shields, but the last season, to be honest, I wasn't enjoying it because I bring up the beating Linfield in the County Antrim Shield and then getting beat with Donegal Celtic 3-0. There was a lot of that. You know, there was a lot of, you know, 2 good performances and a crap performance, you know, and I just, you know, we were capable of being a good side if we had any consistency, but when you're sitting in the changing room, I mean, we had a couple of bad things from the time at Ballymena. I mean, Cliftonville beat us 8 up at the showgrounds one day. I mean, Cliftonville
off the pitch that night.
Well, here, I tell you the difference between.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It was a massive performance.
Glenavon,
6-2, wasn't it?
7 a couple of times. And, you know, when you see players in the changing room 20 minutes, half an hour after a game, having a laugh and a joke, you know, after a bad defeat, you know, you sort of say to yourself, you know, this is not for me.
Doesn't mean anything,
It doesn't mean anything to him at all, you know. And
the type of fellow you are, West, you could write an argument there very quickly.
Very quickly. You know, it's, I couldn't understand it, because it didn't happen at Linfield. I mean, you're defeated in Linfield, you get in, you get your bath and you change. And
you put your tail between your legs, you shut up and you go home.
Exactly, and there was a lot but at Ballymena, there was, not every player was like that, but there was some players who you got the sense was, you didn't give a shit. You know, as long as they got the wee envelope at the end of the month, they got the pay at the end of the month. That was it. And to be honest, I made the decision that it's, there was a couple of wee things happened too. It was sort of second there, and I just couldn't wait to get out of the place. And that, to me, that was it. I said to myself, that's it, I'm finished. You know, not with that again, because it's a different game now.
Do you go and watch football now at all? Anywhere? Do you about to?
Okay, I watch.
Do you go to Windsor Park at all?
Oh, I take the grandson down to Windsor Park.
Right.
I take the grandson down to Windsor Park.
And I suppose you'll still get this going ahead, the big man, or going ahead, Big West, and
you know.
Right. Well, sure. Listen.
A couple of young ones coming up there, and he's showing signs. You know, he's showing a few wee signs that he might. But he's a lot of work. But no, the next 2 or 3 years will tell a difference whether he's going to have a chance or not.
Right.
There's another grandson. He's coming up there too. He's going to have a ball at his feet, I'm sure. And well, we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of mountains to climb, as I say, but that's what I enjoy.
And that'll keep you taking over, actually.
It'll keep you taking
that'll put you into your older days, and you'll be able to say, you know, and if you get in, West, I suppose the dream now, if you could imagine one of the young boys there dressing up and going out and playing Irish League football, surely God, you would be totally satisfied.
Okay, well, we had it with Matthew. I mean, Matthew, we were so close with Matthew. Matthew, I mean, he was so close to signing for Crystal Palace. Celtic were looking at him, Rangers and Huddersfield and stuff like that there, but
He's doing so well now, Wesley, but isn't he?
Unfortunately, it didn't materialise for
Probably.
one reason or another, which I'm not talking about. But
He's doing so well, Wesley. He's proved his worth.
he's doing it.
What age is he now?
He's 25 now. I think it's 20. I think it's well. It's I would say maybe too late for him to go across the water now, but you never know. If he has a good season now, if he stays healthy and fit,
And maintains that over that would be 2 or 3 seasons, Wesley. He has stood out there, you know.
Well, last season wasn't so good for him because he suffered with injury, you know. But
Leaving goals for the year before.
He can stay healthy this year, you know, and do some because
he's putting them away now. There's no doubt about it. And you know, it was terribly sad to see a young lad out there not getting that opportunity, and whenever it came along for circumstances to obviously out of his hands to take a thing like that away from him, you know,
it left a sour taste.
It left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. But listen, that's the politics of the game, Wesley, isn't it?
That's football.
That's the politics of football, isn't it? You know, and there's many a sick yes that there has happened. Well, Wesley, and at the end of the day, and as far as the interview for BSNTV is concerned, Ballymena Sports Network Television, which I know you're a supporter of, and I know that you speak highly of, and I know that you've got the respect for what it's trying to offer the community. You've been newly sponsored by Zala Sports, who are Zala Sports and Printing, Lee Garrett there out in Ahoho, who will offer a first-class service to anyone from any neck of the woods looking for any embroidery or any sports materials at all. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to chat to a family friend, a man who, you believe it or believe it not, in the fantasies of life, you were my first sporting hero.
Oh, thanks very much.
Because I don't know whether I'm going to let all the viewers know something here. I think it was about 1984, 1985 that I had a Brazil top, and you had a yellow top, which had a green neck, and you had a pair of blue shorts. And you had a pair of white socks.
I was Brazil mad.
So what you done was you put green and yellow sellotape on top of your socks, which were white, and you put a bit of white tape down the blue shorts, which weren't the blue shorts, they were a pair of Everton shorts. And God forgive you as a Liverpool man wearing Everton shorts. And I cut the badge off my original Brazil top, and I gave it to you. Wow. And I remember in the flat up in the Derry Road giving it to you, and it was like winning the lottery. And do you know what you had hanging on the wall that day? And I give it to you. Do you mind it was a Dynamo Kiev?
Dynamo Kiev, yes, that's right.
And then you went, you know, so there's 3 ranks of life there, you know what I mean? But no, I remember whenever growing up, Melvin obviously was telling me about this boy, Wesley Lamont. He ran like a gazelle, and he was able to do diving headers, and he had this style about him, and it was just great. And Jimmy, he always said, Jimmy Graham, this is going back into the school. So we're going back in the journey here to 1975. He says Jimmy Graham was the dead spit of Sammy McElroy. Jimmy would have worked his legs off. Wasn't the most skillful player in the world.
No, baby.
But if you wanted Jimmy to run and hit somebody, Jimmy Graham was the man.
Jimmy had a big heart. So,
you know,
all the guys had big hearts. You know, growing up in the Derry Road was.
And the pitches on the Sunday was always great. Jim Ward, he thought it was Alan Clark.
I mean, we had every Sunday up.
And Jim could have put a ball in the net too.
Every Sunday. I mean, you look back in the Derry Road of the old days, 40, 50 years ago. I mean, every Saturday and Sunday there was Wayne's up in two fields playing football. So,
Wesley, there was one question that a guy asked me, and I'll tell you who it was. And I'm going to end the conversation after I asked this question. It was Ozzie Smith. I went into the Blackstone Bar about 3 weeks ago, and Ozzie and Wee Mo was sitting, and Ozzie Smith turned around, and Mickey O'Brien was there as well. And Mickey O'Brien turned around and says to me, he said, Sherman, you know what I'm going to tell you? And I said, what's that, Michael? He says, do you see of all the boys in the Derry Road from the 70s and the early 80s had got a certain amount of league team going? I interrupted him and I says, I don't care about anybody. He says, they'd won the first division for 10 years. Wesley, Stephen Mirror, Robin Martin always goes on about, you know Robin Martin there? Robin Martin always goes on about trying to pick a team out of the Derry Road. Now you've Joe McCall, you've Tony McCall, you've yourself, you've Melvin, you've Ronnie McFall, you've Wee Noel McFall, and you've Stephen Mirror, and you've Colin McLean, and you've Big John Gribben, and you've boys Campbell. There. Huh?
Colin Campbell.
And Terry Hamill. Terry Hamill. Yep. You know, Jason Jordan. You've boys there that were top, absolute quality. Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you'd have mixed that in with the likes of Dick and Nipper, who Melvin called Rodney Marsh, you know, and you had boys there, you know, running about, you know, Ernie Curry, that's sick. You never play better than Ernie Curry.
Derry Road was a hive.
It was a hive for football. If you looked at any of them boys, I mean, they had the evil Stick Madrid, was the team you had in the middle of the year, you know, and there was teams come up from Belfast and teams come up from Harrival. And you always hammered them because this was a festivity. All the young boys, we all went out singing.
Mm-hmm.
We were Madrid. You all played in white. It wasn't white. It was all your tad. It was a white t-shirt to pair of white. You know what it was? It was your school gym kit.
No.
So.
No.
Aye, Wesley, listen, like come back in football and all that there, we could sit and talk all night, but for all the viewers out there, listen, I hope you've all enjoyed a story here from a man who, obviously, everybody knows Big Wes, and there's plenty of other people there I'm going to interview on the same level who have come from the austerities of the lower parts of the Saturday Morning League to give it a go and to believe in themselves and to end up actually, like living the dream, really, I suppose. And obviously next week we have Jared McCauley from Jared was an absolutely fantastic player. He's one of the last players from Antrim I know that people from Ballymena were aware were coming to play. Jared was loud, he was strong, he was proud, and he was very, very fair. And I'm looking forward to interviewing Jared. Do you mind Jared McCauley?
Yeah.
Jared was a strong, hard player.
Yep.
At FC Antrim and what we call it there, Rath and Row over the years, I always remember. In the Carlini changing room, it was make sure somebody shut Jared down, because Jared could have played, but it stood his ground too, so I'm very much looking forward to having a chat with Jared. But as for tonight, Wesley, an absolutely huge thank you, and I hope that you get to live the dream of the young boys and get out and get a bit of football with them and watch them coming through their school, and I wish them every success, and I think it's just fantastic that you're lucky enough to have that, because some people don't have that in their life, like myself, and
Same
I wish you
yourself,
every
man, and I
success with it.
I wish you all the success for your TV channel. I think it's brilliant what you're doing. And I hope all the boys in the Saturday Morning League appreciate it.